Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will show you how to make this nice looking navbar that I have. And inside of this navbar, I have the main link, portfolio, some secondary link, and that is the home, about, and contact. I also have the jumbotron, about me, and portfolio part just to make this website look more contained. And this navbar is also responsive. Here, if I resize if I resize the width screen to 320 pixel, now we get the hamburger menu, and if I click it, it will open a menu, the menu that contain our secondary link that we have when we are inside of the desktop mode. And this hamburger menu will just appear when the width screen is below of 1023. Now that you know what we are going to make, let's jump to the code part. So here I already open up a command prompt. I will create a new project using npx create React app as usual, but you can use Python also if you want. But in here, I will just going to use the default method for creating a new project inside of the React.js. And for the project name will be responsive navbar. Just enter and wait. For this default method will took 1 to 3 minutes, I think. But if you are using Python, it will be 5 or 10 seconds, I think. Now just need to wait. Okay, so finally my React project has been done created. Here as you can see, I got 4 tab because I was entering 4 times. So yeah, I will just going to clear the console and then cut that to open it in my IDE. In my case, I use Visual Studio Code. You can also use Sublime Text or any IDE that you want. Wait a sec. Okay, so yeah, I have to city it first to navbar, city, responsive navbar, some notification there. So yeah, just need to code and dot. We'll drag from here to here. Now as you can see, we got some basic React project. We got the, let me see, we got the app.test.js, logo.svg, report web vital, setup test. But actually we don't need all of that unnecessary files, so yeah, we can delete it from app.test.js. But wait, before we delete all of this, what if we just run it first? Here CLS and then yarn start. I use yarn in here, and I think this console will ask me to run it in another port because I was already run the 3000 port in my main project. So yeah, just need to wait it. Here as you can see, the yarn is asking me for running it in another port, so just press yes. If you want to run it in another ports, we'll drag it to here. Now let's see. Yeah, it took it took longer than I thought. And yeah, finally it loaded. We got our basic React page, some React logo that is spinning, some guides or some starter guide here, and the documentation to the React. But we don't need it because in here I already be your guide. Let's delete the app.taste.js, logo.svg, report white file, and set up test in here. Delete all of this. Don't forget to also delete the code that need the file that we just already deleted. Like for example, instead of the index.js, we have to delete the import report web vitals, and app.js. We are going to delete the logo.svg import. And for this div with a class name of app, I will just make it empty. Now we can make this app.jsx to app.js to app.jsx. Let's save. Let's save. Automatically the React will, or the yarn will automatically refresh the website. So now we get a blank page. Let's style or give it some basic component in here. I'm going to make a new folder called components. Here we are going to have the navbar.jsx, the jumbotron.jsx, the about.jsx, and portfolio.jsx. I'm going to write rough C for all of this. This rough C will create a basic React code or React structure. I will write it also instead of the jumbotron, about, and portfolio. Save. And if in your IDE is not working, maybe there's because you are not installing the ES7 React plugin, extension. Let me see here. I already installed this extension. This extension allow me to create a basic React structure using or just writing rough C, and that will create it. You have to install this first, and then you can use the rough C snippet. Close. Now let's import all of this component in our app.jsx, and let me see here. So if you are importing it one and one, like for example here, I'm going to import the navbar. I will control space. Here I got the navbar, and then we are going to import the jumbotron. Now we get a new line of import, and if your website have a tons of component, there will be a tons of line codes for importing the component too. So to avoid that, instead of the component is in here, I'm going to make an index.jsx, and in here I'm going to import all of the component that we have. Inside of here, I'm going to write exports, and then default as navbar. Whoops, it should be just navbar from navbar.jsx in here. Let's save it and duplicate it. Let me see. One. After the navbar, we have the jumbotron, about me, and portfolio. So then we have 4 of them. After the navbar, we are going to export the jumbotron. Oops. Jumbotron, and then here we are going to have about me parts, about, and the last one is going to be portfolio. Let's save it and then go back to the app.jsx. I'm going to delete this import or manual imports. I'm going to block this navbar component and then control space it to show the suggestion of the codes. Now we already import the navbar. Let's import the jumbotron, and then here we are going to have about, and the last one is going to be portfolio. Now as you can see here, we import all of the component inside of a one line here. Let's save and see in a website. We got the Navbar, Jumbotron, About, and Portfolio text. Sure, that is because in each of these components we didn't change anything yet. Let's start with the Navbar component. So inside of this component, I'm going to replace this div with a React fragment. Whoops, with a React fragment here. Wait a second. Okay, so we are going to write a React fragment, and inside of this React fragment, we will have a navbar, a nav tag, with a class name equal to relative. And yep, we need a tailwind in here. So let's install it first. Let's split this terminal into two. Wait, I'm going to CLS it first. And let's go to the documentation of Tailwind. Okay, so here I already inside of the documentation of Tailwind CSS. Let's go to the documentation, and here we already redirected to the installation page. We are going to use the using post CSS in here. Let's copy all of the comment here and paste it here. Just enter it and wait. After the installation is done, if you go to the sidebar or for inside of the Windows Explorer here, you will see that we got a new file that called tailwind.config.js. So in this file, we are going to config or setting the configuration for the Tailwind. If you go back to the documentation here, as you can see here, we got add Tailwind to your post CSS configuration. But yeah, we don't get the post CSS file, so then we're going to skip it. And then here we have to configure your template page. So let's copy it. Let's copy. You can copy the content, the array of the content, or maybe copy all of the code. I will copy all of the codes here. But as you can see here, we just get the HTML and JS. Even though our file is JSX since we are using React. So in here, I'm going to add more. After JX, we'll have JSX, just in case, TX and TSX. Let's save it and go to the index.css. If you see here, let me see here, we have to add the Tailwind base component and utility to the index.css. Let's go to our index.css here and put it in the top of the file. And why we are putting this configuration inside of the index.css, that is because all of the page or all of the component will have access to this index.css. So if you see in the documentation here, the documentation said add the Tailwind directive to your CSS. So in here, Tailwind for each of Tailwind layers to your main CSS file, and that means the index.css here. After we done setting the Tailwind, we can go back and continue making the navbar.jsx. So after we add the relative class in here, we're going to make the class is equal to flex, and then for the flex wrap is going to be wrap. For the item align, it's going to be item center, and for the justify content, it's going to be between. I will give it padding x, that means I will give it padding right and left is equal to 2. For this class is 2, but for the value is going to be 0.5 rem. And then I will give it padding y, that is padding top and bottom. I will give it 3, and that is 0.775 rem. After that, I'm going to give it background is equal to gray 500. You can see the color in here. Inside of this nav, inside of this nav, we will have a div with a class name. class name div. Let's save it first. For this class name is going to be, and for this div, it will have a class name equal to, here is going to have a class equal to container. You will have the width equal to 100 pixel, and then when the width is 600 below of the 640 pixel, the max width will be 640 pixel, and if the width screen is below 768, the max width is also going to be 768 pixel. After we give it container class, we are going to give it padding x is going to be 4. For the margin x is going to be auto. This div will have flex this for the display, and then for the wrap is going to be flex wrap. Item align is going to be center, and for justify content is going to be between. Inside of this div, we will have another class, another div with a class name equal to, equal to, close it first, equal to width is full. So the width of this div will be 100 pixel. Here is to be div, wait a second, div. After we give it width is full, I will give it display is going to be relative, and then for the position is going to be relative. For the display is going to be flex, and then justify between. For the if the width screen is width, LG, it will have width is equal to auto, and then if the width screen is LG, it will have static, and if the width screen is LG2, we'll have display equal to block, and the last one is if the screen is LG, it will give justify content is going to be start. I'll shift F and then enter. Inside of here we'll have a tag with a class name equal to, class name equal to text is SM or small. For the font is bold. Leading is relaxed. So leading, if inside of the Tailwind, something like this. So let me see here. Leading, here is leading. The property that set margin or gap between line from the text. So for the leading is relax. For the display is going to be inline block. Here let me hover to it, and then for the margin right is 4, padding Y is 2, white space is no wrap, and here it will be uppercase. For the text is going to be white. Alt Z to wrap the codes, and for the href is just going to be href hashtag portfolio. Let me see here. And for the text is going to be portfolio. If you see in our main project here, we have all of our link is uppercase, but if you see in the code we are not writing it uppercase. That is because we add this uppercase class inside of the a tag that we have, so it will automatically make the text turns into uppercase. After we have the portfolio, we'll have a button. It should be a button. This button will have a class name equal to, the text is going to be white. Cursor is going to be pointer. Text is going to be XL. Leading is going to be none. PX is going to be 3. PY is 1. For the border is border solid, and then border transparent. Here, let me see, and then we'll have around it where the background is also transparent, because in here we are going to put our we are going to put our hamburger icon. After we have the background is transparent, we'll have the block for the default display, and if the width screen is LG, I will make it hidden, and then for the outline is none. For the focus, it's going to be outline none, and also in here it's going to be outline none. Type is equal to button, and then here I'm going to give it on click even, but I will just keep it empty for now. I'll shift F to verify the codes. Here I'm going to import the file bars, but since we are not adding the packets yet, here I'm going to add it. The name of the package will be React Icons. This package contain all of the icons that might available in the React. Like for example, font awesome and design, material UI, and so on. If you want to see the complete version, just go to the documentation. Maybe I will put it in the description. After the installation of React Icons is done, we can import these bars from the React icon. So yeah, I will just going to copy the import that I have from my previous project here, save, and here is how it look from the import code. After we import the bars or the bars, here we are going to make another state. So I'm going to make use state, import it first, and then use the snippet here. This will be navbar open, and for the default value is going to be false. Alt Shift F to verify the codes, save it. Now we are going to make another div outside of this div before above of the button that we just created. So this div will have a class name equal to when the screen width is LG, it will have display as flex. For the flex is grow, and then for the item align is going to be center. Let's save it first. And here we are going to have dynamic class. So I will wrap it with a curly brace, because that is how you make a dynamic block inside of the React. And here I'm going to make an if statement. If the navbar open is true, it will show flex, but if it's not, it will show or give hidden. Inside of here, I will make a UL with a class name equal to flex for the display. Flex direction is going to be column, and then for the width, and if the width of screen is LG, the direction will be row. For the list is known, so this means if we, if you have created a list before, if you have been created a list before, you will see a dot in each of the list item that we have. So this list non-class function is to remove that dot from the list item. After we have list is none, and if the width of the screen is LG, again it will have margin left equal to auto. Here I'm going to make a new li, sir, because inside of the list we'll have list item. For this class name, whoops, it should be class name. Wait, if there is some suggestion like that, that means a class name with a lowercase n. Here, let's save it inside of the button. Let's save and go back to the list item. This list item will have no class for now, and inside of here I will have an a tag with a class name equal to padding x is 3, padding y is 2, for the display is flex, for the item align is going to be center, for the text font size is going to be XS, and it will be uppercase. For the font weight is going to be bold. I will close it first here. Save. Whoops, it should be a tag, not div. Here, after we give it one weight equal to bold, I will make the leading is equal to snug. For the text color is going to be white, and when it's hover, it will have opacity is equal to 75. For the href, this one is going to be home, cross home here, and here. Whoops, inside of here I will have a span with a class name equal to, we don't need class name in here, and this will be home. Let's save it. I will duplicate it two more times, 1 and 2. The second one is going to be about, and the last one is going to be contact. Oops. For the about href is also going to be about, and for the contact is also going to be contact. Let's save. Go back to the website. Let's open up our react.app here. Yeah, we got a list. So here we got a website without a tailwind. Let me see in the console where it is. Class name, do you mean class name? Here we got class name with a lowercase. I will change it to uppercase. Let's save. Go back to the website. We still got no style page. Let me see here. So now it working fine. All we need to do is just restart the server. And as you can see here, we got the same navbar that we have inside of here. But I think for the secondary link is a little bit different. So let's see what is the problem in here. That is because in here for the uppercase it should be just 2p, not triple. So let's check it out again, and finally we got the same navbar that we have inside of our main project. The next component that we want to create is the jumbotron. So let's go to the jumbotron.jsx in here. For this jumbotron, as usual, I will just going to replace it with a empty react tag, react fragment and now inside of here, I'm going to put a div with a class name equal to width is full, height is 30 rem, and here I'm going to have another div with a class name equal to flex for the display, and then for the justify content is going to be center, and for the item align is going to be center, for the flex direction is going to be row, height is full, and for the background is going to be slate, and 400. Inside of here we'll have a span with a class name equal to, oops, I think I activate my caps lock. Okay, I'm going to close it first. I'm going to close the span, and then for this span I will give it class name equal to, for the font weight is going to be semi bold, text size is going to be 2XL, and for the text color it's going to be white. And then here, hello, my name is John Doe, maybe. Let's save it. Now, let's see in the website here. We get our hello, but we didn't get our, here. It should be center. That is why our text in here is not at the center of the page. I mean of the Jumbotron. After that, I'm going to make the about.jsx. In here is going to be same like in the Jumbotron. I'm going to replace it with a React fragment, and then instead of here, I will make a div with a class name equal to width is full padding. If you don't give any direction, like for example x or y or left, right, top, bottom, that means you will give a padding to all direction. So if I just write p5, that means I will give padding 5 to all direction in an element. After that, I'm going to add an extra padding for the x direction, for the x-axis, and then for this about is going to be, and inside of this class we'll have a div, another div with a class name equal to flex, and then for the display is flex, and for the direction is going to be column, justify align, justify item is going to be center, item align is going to be center. Inside of this div we will have a span. This first span is going to be the title, something like that, and that is why this span have font is semi bold, and the text then the font size is going to be text LG. This will be about me, and then span. This span will have a lorem. I will copy it through 2 more times or maybe 3. I'll shift F to verify the codes. After that, let's save it first, and then wait a second. So in here we already got our about me part. Now what left is just the portfolio. Let me see here inside of the portfolio. Maybe I will just copy it from the about.jsx in here and paste it right here. Save. What we are going to change is just the span, and the title text is going to be portfolio. Close it again, and for this portfolio it's just going to be div. I'm going to change the span, that is the about me, to a div with a class name equal to flex for the display, and for the flex direction is going to be row. The gap x equal to 2. So the gap x mean, so if you have a content, like for example like this, content, and content, this gap x will give a gap in the x-axis for each of the item. Like for example you give it 1, so maybe it will seem like 1 space. If you give it 2, so the space will be 2 space, and so on. After we give it gap x is equal to 2, it will have flex wrap is equal to wrap, and for the gap y is going to be 3. That is same function. For the function is same like in the gap x. The difference is just gap x is for the x-axis. Gap y is inside of the y-axis. Inside of this div, I'm going to have another div with a class name equal to width is 44 and rounded MD. Inside of here, I'm going to have an image with a path of image and an image.png. For the alt is going to be just portfolio. Let's save it, and here I'm going to copy and paste the image from my previous projects here. So we are going to create the image folder inside of the public folder. Here I'm going to make a new folder called image, move the image inside of the image folder, and change the name to image. You can get this image from a website. For the search keyword is going to be dummy image generator, and you will find the website. You can also customize your own image if you want to. After we create this one div, I will duplicate it 1, 2, 3, and 4 times more. So the total is going to be 5 items. Let's save and go back to the website here. Now we got the same. Oops, where this one is wrong. Let me see here. Image.png. Wait a second. What if I refresh it? Now we get all of the image, and now we are get the same website that we have in the main project. And I think that's it for this video. I hope you will enjoy it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any question, just write it in a comment. I will try to answer it as fast as I can. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.